Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we could be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So, like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. Transition to our last topic with really quickly with Dan Hurley and the Lakers. Like I was telling the guys, I kind of just caught up on it Monday because, I was getting alerts about it and I was seeing, all kind of different fodder with Shams and or Woj and his whole ESPN conglomerate. And then you got Shams and his story with JJ Redick. It's just a lot of stuff. But my question is, I wanted to ask the guys, who do you think would be, because Dan Hurley obviously spurring the Lakers, but who do you think would be a good coaching fit for the Lakers? And Zoo, you can go ahead and start this one if you want to.
Sweet. Before I dive in on a potential good candidate, I just want to bravo Dan Hurley for playing the media game, because that's pretty much all it was. He was never gonna, because I remember when the first reports happened, because I this is the time of the reports. Shams a week before, he reported that JJ Redick was number one on the target of become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, and they did like a first interview, and pretty much it was looking like JJ Redick was going to be the eventual head coach. And then a couple days later, Woj drops the bomb. Dan Hurley is going to become the Los Angeles Lakers' number one target, and they're going to give him this massive contract and long-term contract. And I'm like, okay, something's obviously going on right now.
$70 million.
There's some media finessing right now, right? First, if you look at Woj's background, he wrote a book about Dan Hurley's daddy, Bobby Hurley, and they had a relations as younger people. Like Adrian Wojnarowski and Dan Hurley knew each other when they were younger. So they have an extremely good relationship. So obviously, when he says sources, he get directly sources from Mr. Hurley himself. So there's some canoodling going there. And obviously, Hurley just signed a contract extension. Probably want to finesse the UConn Huskies to get a little more money in his contract. So this is an obvious leverage play, saying this is a great opportunity with a great franchise and all this and all that. And I'm just like, bro, I don't buy this one bit, especially with the timing of the leak. And then they said,
convenient.
Exactly. And they said his decision is going to be made on Monday. I'm like, boy, you already made the decision. The Lakers gave you the offer, and you're like, I'm good. I ain't going to become a scapegoat for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. We've seen the past couple of coaches come in and out. Frank Vogel, NBA champion, come in and out. Darvin Ham, come in and out. So, dude, and you got a dynasty in the UConn Huskies, and you might be the first head coach since John Wooden to get a three-peat. A three-peat in the modern era when kids are not staying as long as back in the day where people stay 3 to 4 years. No brainer, man. Let him take it. And he's mentioned in interviews, aka it was actually kind of funny. He was on JJ Redick's podcast, and they were asking about future career aspirations, and he said money is not the biggest motivation for him. A lot of it's he's a true hooper. Love the game. This guy played college basketball. This guy was a point guard. This guy, his daddy was a head coach. Exactly high. This guy is true passion basketball. Ball is So he built in UConn ain't an accident. He built that program up from being obviously they got a great legacy, but he built that program back up.
He would probably rather retire, Zoo, rather than leave UConn, to be honest. With the potential,
I'm going to give you a prediction right now. In the future, I think Dan Hurley is going to take an opportunity in the NBA.
You think I believe that 100%. For sure.
Because he's got that ego. I'm fucking that guy. I think I can build an NBA team. He's an alpha dog. He a little cocky, got that Kobe mentality. This guy is he's
as a coach.
Yeah, he's very for a head coach. He got that swagger. I'm awesome at coaching basketball, and I believe in my abilities. And people say he wants to test his ability in the pro, but the timing right now it's just not the right time. You go for a 3-peat, have a couple more years with UConn after that contract expires, after he gets the bag over there. and then who probably pivot to the NBA and try to build up a program
and
younger players.
And not for the Lakers. Yeah, the current Lakers team.
Yeah, the current Lakers
regime. Go back to college too. So like whenever he feels like going to the NBA, if he doesn't do whatever, he can always go back to. I mean, I don't know about
Nick Saban.
He can go back to another. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, you can always go back. So like that whole situation, I found it hilarious, especially with the timing of it. But he definitely used the media as a leverage play. And I don't know if it was also trying to make the Lakers look a little, we got Dan Hurley. Like, this is a potential, like, big time.
I think
they stole the headlines that day. They stole the headlines from the NBA Finals that day. Like, Rob,
but I also think I was also reading that I think, so with the Lakers, like, if we're talking about Woj and Shams, I think they were saying Woj has a relationship with Pelinka and Buss, like Jeannie Buss. He has a relationship there. Whereas Shams' relationship primarily is with LeBron and some of the players on the team. Yep. So, like, to your point about the Lakers wanting to get out and be like, like, we're going after Hurley. Like, they kind of, to your point, it was a leverage play. And, you know, it's the media wars with Shams and Woj. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when Woj's words were very, like, particular, like, massive, going for a big, it's pretty much showing this Los Angeles Lakers team, like, we're going for a big time coach, trying to make the Lakers look like a more respectable organization. Be like, like Dan Hurley, like, appreciated offer, high consideration. Like, this is a great opportunity for him, once in a lifetime opportunity. All this is just gassing up the Lakers brand. Like this is a straight up Rob Pelinka, like, love it. Like, yo, I'm that man. I'm taking a big risk and it is just making the Lakers look better than they actually are. Exactly. That's pretty much, it makes it. It's like kind of a play both sides. And obviously when the news happened, like,
my back, I scratch yours.
Exactly. So when I saw the news, I'm like, Dan Hurley, like, he rejects it with this big little grin on ESPN, that headline. I'm like, okay, yeah, you suck, man. He playing this nice game, and I appreciate the play. And Shams is just there, be like, Hurley, that was never happening. He's just like, yo, you can't do that. Shams saw through that bull, saw through that BS, and he's saying JJ Redick. So that's still my prediction. JJ Redick is going to be the head coach. And for me personally, as a head coach right now, because I'm sick of the coaching carousel of failed head coaches. Yeah, like, I kind of like the idea
with you on that.
Of giving a guy an opportunity. Well, like, even Darvin Ham, he failed, whatever. I like giving assistant coaches or maybe a new guy an opportunity of trying to prove themselves. Because right now, like Mark Daigneault from the OKC, he was never an NBA head coach, and he's doing an absolute terrific job right now. Yeah. So you never know these guys until, like, I don't know, these guys like Doc Rivers. I'm like, that dude failed multiple times. Like, I'm done with Doc Rivers. I'm giving new guys exactly. Like these guys, like okay, yeah, he's a nice coach or whatever. Bruno. It's just a straight recycling bin. That this coach goes down, let me hire him. He won a championship, so he got to be a decent head coach. He's a championship head coach. The Mike McCarthy syndrome, man. I'm like, no. Like,
I think the only one we can agree turned out a little bit better was the Mike Brown resurgence post LeBron.
He definitely had a resurgence. Yeah. Oh yeah. He definitely
I mean, he won a championship with the Lakers, so his resurgence back into the league, like, it wasn't like he was chopped liver. I mean. Yeah, it's just the pressure cooker of Lakers.
Bubble, Sean. He won the bubble. All right, let's give him a.
But I mean, he got the championship, and he was good with Indiana. I don't know why he got let go in Indiana. He was
objectively good. He was very good with Indiana. His defensive schemes were very, very good. But for me personally, like, fresh blood is what I want for the NBA, because there's only 30 jobs at NBA, so there's only so many positions for opportunities. For me, like a guy like a Sam Cassell, who's been an assistant head coach for years now under different teams and different ownership. So this guy, I like guys that are paying their dues as like assistant head coaches and going through that grind, because that is a grind. Like, assistant, that ain't a sexy job, because you don't get any of the praise. Like, none of the praise. Like, you are the guy in the background working with the players, working with head coaches, giving them advice. Pretty much, you're the guy in the back end, and you get none of the credit, and you get, like, no one knows your name. You ain't a household name. So I feel like a guy like that, give him a job, or at least give him an interview and doing some due diligence with these assistant coaches that have done many, many years. While the prospect in JJ Redick, that's just a straight up connection. That is just straight up,
you know what it reminds me of?
That time, like, come on now, LeBron James, JJ Redick podcast starts at that ideal.
No, they're not airing it yet. They're not airing it.
Yeah, they're delaying it now a week. JJ Redick and LeBron. I'm like, that timing is too convenient. And when they say, "Oh, JJ Redick's like, oh, we haven't talked about," man, that's a whole lot of BS, man.
You gotta save face.
Don't take us for a fool, man. Don't take us for a fool. And LeBron James every time. And mind the game. What is that? An X's and O's podcast. I straight up watching JJ Redick pretty much auditioning to be the Lakers head coach, saying, "I know these X's and O's. I know the inner goals of the game. I have a good relations with the star." Pretty much, I'm just like, and JJ Redick probably right now trying to leverage. Give me the bag right now. Like he has a media company. He has a media company right now that's making millions of dollars. So for him to maybe put that on pause and not positioning like as the number one focus, he'd probably like, "Yo, give me $8, $9, $10 million. I'll take the job."
Yeah, give me the Hurley contract.
Pretty much. He saw that contract.
I'm slamming the door in his face if he asks me for that.
If he asks me for that, I'm slamming it because you want to know what? I'm not saying it'll be the same because I do think JJ, to your point, Zoo, he's got better relationships with the players. Yep. I think that is a huge part.
People respect him.
But then again, okay, people respected Doc Rivers and how's that turned out for him, right? I'm not saying they're the same person, but connections into the players is not all that matters. He does have X's and O's, but he was not a point guard. He was never a point guard. Sam Cassell was a point guard. I actually think he probably knows the X's and O's. And the league, the coaching in this league right now, he has been in it for years. JJ Redick, he talks about it. He talks to the players.
Yeah, he's a podcaster.
Great. Steve Nash 2.0. That's what I'm right here. So that's why I'm a little nervous.
That is a really good comparison. Because that dude was a definition of one of the worst coaches I've ever seen.
Roster too.
I still remember him hugging Kevin Durant and saying, "Thank you very much."
Yes,
that's all I remember.
And he had a great roster. It's not like this Lakers team is like championship bound. I mean, we've talked about
it's a good team, not a great team.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're not a great team. They're a 7 to 10 seed in the West, the way it's looking in the future. I mean, like I said, we're not talking championships. So Sam Cassell was mine. I know JJ Redick is likely the favorite, but Sam Cassell is my top. I also like James Borrega, the Pelicans assistant, who's been also interviewing with the Cavaliers.
He was the coach at the Hornets, right? Hornets coach for a little bit.
He was a head coach.
I think he was the Hornets.
Yeah, for a bit. He did a good job.
But once again, you could argue that he kind of he had the head coaching job, and then he had to bite his own ego a little bit and do what Mike Brown did when he went to the Warriors after his whole stint as a head coach. Just relearn, kind of grow with the new team. And let's be honest, the Pelicans outperformed all expectations this year. I know they didn't hold on to it towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
injury issues. Yeah. But you're talking about another solid coaching candidate, which is coming from having head coach, but being more so of an assistant type guy for lack of better words. But yeah, man, James Borrega. I mean, I've also seen Jay Wright being thrown around. I think he's 60.
I'm telling you, that's doing television. Zero stress.
You want to know what? I just saw this. He was Dan Hurley before Dan Hurley.
He was Villanova. He made that program into a
And remember, Zoo, just like UConn was great in years past, and they had that lull.
Yep.
Villanova was the same exact way. Their lull was a lot longer, but he brought them back with much less talent than what UConn has had.
Yeah, and his players play well in the NBA too.
His guys all turned out to be pretty great players. Maybe his development, they might have not turned out that great. His development of his guys, but he had some significant NBA talent when he won.
Arcidiacono? Yeah, he was a great player.
Okay, no, I ain't talking about I'm talking about Jalen Brunson.
Okay, Jalen Brunson and Josh.
I'm talking about Mikal Bridges.
DiVincenzo, I don't think he was a high major recruit. He's probably a major recruit, but
no.
I mean, the only guy you probably could say was a high major recruit for them was probably like Brunson or Mikal, and I'm not even too sure on that.
Brunson was highly rated, but
like Josh Hart, I don't think he was a high guy.
No, so I mean, look. You could talk about Jay Wright. I think he's kind of went on that same long shot as Dan Hurley, but he's an even older version. He's kind of retired from coaching.
I feel like he's.
You know what? He'd be a good filler, but not with a team that's kind of on their last leg of potentially competing. I don't think that he's the kind of guy to bring in for that.
Well,
I think Sam Cassell is the guy that they got to go for over the glamour of JJ Redick.
Yeah. See, I'm not mad at Sam because I think from the jump, once Darvin Ham was let go, my whole thing was they need to get a coach, and I didn't even know Dan Hurley was going to be a guy who was going to be an option, and like Zoo just laid out, like that was just more of a leverage pool.
Yeah.
But I think that the Lakers need to look at a situation in terms of their head coach. They need to look at that situation and be like, what is going to be best for the Lakers post LeBron? Because I do understand, or I mean, not me understanding this, but I think the basketball world at large understands LeBron's probably only got 2 to 3 more years left, max, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, if I'm the Lakers and you've seen what we've done since Phil Jackson, you just axed every coach within 3 years, right? Yep. You're looking at yourselves in the mirror and be like, okay, what do we want to do as a franchise? Because the one thing you can say about the Lakers, not Rob Pelinka per se or Jeannie Buss, but their draft and their people who run scouting, they do a really good job because they get guys in there and they develop them and they have an eye for whether they're getting stars. Like you said, if you just go down the list, they got D'Angelo the first time around. They were able to get Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram. They found Josh Hart. Lonzo was working a little bit, but then he got hurt. Alex Caruso, Austin Reeves, and I know you guys want to laugh, but Zubac, but THT is a role player in this league. He can play, and he was a second round pick that they bought. He was a second round pick that he's a role player in this league. He's in an 8-man rotation. He's not a star, but he's I was a little high.
He's a nice little role player. He's a nice little role player.
And you got to think about it too. If you look at THT and how he played in college, he's a 6'3" guy who was 240, who just had super long arms. He was a small forward.
Desmond Bane.
That's just the scouting.
God.
Desmond Bane, but can't shoot as good as him.
Sure.
But anyways,
Desmond Bane's cash money, man. He cash money.
He's a 5-year, 200 Mac type of guy. Yeah, he's a way different tier player. But they have a good scouting department. Whoever runs that department, they're good at that. So to me, I think if they have the capital, which they was talking about wanting to trade picks, and they didn't do anything at the deadline, which I think was smart because I think Rob Pelinka, who I don't know how long he's going to be in that position. I really don't. He's kind of on thin ice right now. It's kind of been tough for him. I know he's made some great trades, but it's the Lakers, and it just he hasn't been able to connect in terms of, like you said, keeping the coaches in place. So to me, their focus needs to be getting a coach who is ready to come in and build. Now, with Hurley, I know it was a lot of hoopla around him, but I wasn't a fan of that hire if they were going to make it because I don't care what nobody says. All that beating my chest and running around, you're not cutting that off in the NBA. No. You're going to try to do, and everybody says, well, he would be able to talk to. It ain't even about LeBron. You're not doing that to no NBA guy. No. You're not going in there running around talking like I'm the mad scientist. Who in the NBA does that now? Tom Thibodeau yells and stuff, and he rushes players. And he gets his guys into the playoffs, but I bet you his players would probably say Thibodeau's not like that in practice, or Thibodeau, he's just demanding in the game. But I'm saying Thibodeau's the only guy that's getting that off. And I'm going to tell you, he's about a year or two from getting axed in New York because if you keep running my guys into the ground and we're only getting to the conference semis or the conference finals, what use do I have for you? So to me, it's Hurley is a great X's and O's guy, but more than any other league, NFL, NHL, MLB, any other league, it is about being a massager of player egos in the NBA. You got to have a balance of doing that like a Doc Rivers, but also being a great X and O's guy like an Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra, great X and O guy, but he also knows how to handle stars. He knows how to talk to stars. He's had Jimmy Butler. He's had LeBron James. He's had Dwayne Wade. He handles stars well. You got to have that balance. So to me, the Lakers, I'm not saying you need to find a guy who's just strictly X and O's, but you got to find the perfect fit of, hey, we got a guy who can get us into great plays, great sets, great after timeouts. You need all that, but you also need a guy who can relate to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Because even when LeBron leaves, and even if Anthony Davis leaves in free agency, I'm not saying the Lakers are going to continue to build the 3-star model because that's going away. You're not with all the aprons and all the stuff I've been hearing about how it's going to be more difficult to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. So you're going to have to learn. The league is setting up for you to draft your guys, build them. So you need to get a coach within that focus. So to me, I like the aspect of getting a coach that's in a Dan Hurley mode of wanting to build, but not so fiery. So like I said, Sam Cassell is a good option. People have been bringing up, and I just read about him yesterday, David Alderman for the Denver Nuggets. He's a guy who's an assistant for them who has been respected as a guy that Michael Malone, who's actually worked with LeBron back in the day, as a guy who's kind of his, I wouldn't say protege, but as an assistant who has the right type of temperament and skill set X's and O's wise, that could be a great fit for a potential head coach. I like someone like that, someone who has paid their dues, who has been in a championship environment. And if you will put them with another franchise who aspires to win championships, then that could be a good marriage. I'm not a fan of JJ Redick because to me, I don't getting online and talking about X and O's. Nobody's saying he doesn't know. Nobody's saying he doesn't know the game. He obviously knows the game. But it's dude, you can't set a precedent of just letting guys even though he's played in the league, respect to that. I'm not saying it's disrespectful, or I'm not trying to disrespect him and say like, hey, all you did was play in the league. Like, no, that's a big freaking deal. But there's a process. It's more to coaching than just coming in, putting your hands in your pocket, wearing a nice suit, and just acting like you're calling plays. Like, you got to be able to
that was Steve
you got to be able to manage. Yeah, and to your point, that was a great comparison. Like, it could turn out being Steve Nash 2.0. And to Zoo's point also was like, dude, there's guys who have bided their time in the league. Give them a chance. Stop recycling head coaches and other head coaches who have failed at other places. Like, I just don't understand. And the Lakers, to me, and this is it speaks more to just their management, like Jeannie Buss, that whole, it's just like, it's a theatrical show. Yeah. It's just a show.
It's LA.
So they it's LA. And it's hard to be critical because they have a crap load of titles. So they kind of get it. And it's hard to be like, say if I was a Hornets fan or if I was a Magic fan, it was like, look at the Lakers, a clown show. Well, what has your franchise done? You guys have been drafting for years and have done diddly squats. It's like if I was a fan of another team, if I was a Lakers fan, it's like, shut up. Our stuff you can call us clown show all you want to, but our method has worked because we've always got bigger stars and we've always won championships, which they have. But on the other side, it's like there will be a life after LeBron James. So like, what is your plan? Do you want a coach that only handles stars? So then when LeBron retires or leaves the Lakers and then Anthony Davis ends up going somewhere else, you're going to have a guy who handles stars and he's got a bunch of role players. Like I said, the Lakers, I'm more the one that looks more on the positive side of Lakers because they've always drafted well. And even though the Pelicans deal, I know people say like, oh, they got to draft the Pelicans, but I mean, that deal's about to be, they're almost over that deal. Like, it's not like the Pelicans have their picks till 2036. Like, and a lot of it at the end of this is just swaps. Like you said, this year, it's pick swaps. So like they get it this year, and then the Pelicans get it the year after that. But it's like that deal's about to be up, and they'll still have draft assets for later, and they draft well. So to me, it's like, let me look at Austin Reeves. I think Max Christie's a guy. He just don't get minutes. Like
from Chicago.
I mean, Hood Schifino, like we'll see. He was injured a lot last year, but like he's a nice guy.
That pick looking like a miss because the guys right after him, they were all productive players.
Yeah, they were all good, and I think the Lakers really wanted Keontae George. They just couldn't get him because I think Utah got him. But we'll see the jury still out on Hood Schifino. Like they got other guys. Like I mean, Austin Reeves was undrafted, and they developed him into a 4-year, $80 million
starter. A nice starter.
Yeah. Well, I think you should say LeBron developed him into a nice starter.
Well, but I still think Austin Reeves could be really good. Like, now LeBron.
Yeah. But if he didn't have LeBron coming in.
No, if he didn't have LeBron. But I think if David, like LeBron leaves this year somehow, and Davis is still on the team, I think Austin Reeves, I mean, his numbers are obviously going to be
like 16 points a game.
He'll still be pretty good with someone like Davis. So I trust their scouting department. Like, they'll be fine. As long as they're keeping those people together, they'll be fine. It all comes down to put your ego aside, stop star chasing, and get a coach who's going to come in and players respect. And you can have a guy who's going to want to build because you're going to have to build. LeBron's not going to play forever.
Sean, like they don't want the boring hire of Sam Cassell, man. ET himself, they don't want to hire.
I mean, probably not going to take. If you hold a gun in my head, it's probably going to be Redick and have a blast, bro. Just have a blast. Have a blast with that hire.
Yeah. So enjoy the first 20 games of the season, and then you're back to podcasting. Enjoy.
Like if you want to look at it from a glass half full, it's like, okay, they get whatever they get out of LeBron in the next 2 years. They go to the playoffs and they just get beat because obviously it's not X and O's. They have a better team. And then LeBron ends up retiring or going to a different team. And then, like I said, if they still have that scouting department, maybe Redick, because he's shown that he wants to be a head coach. Like maybe he could hit some, he'll get a little bit more grace period because the Lakers are aware of how they looked firing all these coaches and they build up the team because now, even before LeBron got there, the Lakers still were not good. And even though they had a lot of young talent, they just wasn't good. They wasn't any good. So it kind of, it didn't matter that they had all that young talent. That's why I'm always like, the young talent is great, but the young talent actually has to be good. Like OKC. Like you have to have the young talent that's actually like really good to get in the playoffs. Yes. Like you can't just have young talent and be mediocre. You gotta have
you need an SGA who blossoms into
you gotta have that guy.
One of those young guys. That's what you need one of those young guys to become an MVP guy.
So too, like if this, like I know Dallas is still playing the finals, but like the perfect storm for JJ would be like, okay, say Luka's like they get to the finals, they get beat by Boston, and then they don't do anything after that. Luka's like, I want to go to LA. Well, then if he is the only one that goes to LA, and then by that time LA has built up their roster where they have a lot of great pieces around, they just need that one star to come be the last missing piece.
Start to implement, Sean.
I could see that. But like, if that is not the scenario that you're going for, then, I'm going to need you to get a coach that's ready to build it, because I'm sure the coach, and this is the last point when Zoo was talking about Hurley, I'd never believed the story. And I think Hurley's used him as a leverage play. So to me, I think that, if not say Hurley, but another coach, college coach that was like respected and was ready to go to the NBA, I think they would take the Lakers job, because they do understand that. I mean, the media won't tell you that, because everything with the Lakers is because I'm not even a Lakers fan, but everything is so combustible. It's just easy to like, it's a clown show. It's just LeBron. It's just everybody, because that gets clicks. But it's like, the Lakers are a real run like franchise. They don't have 8 titles by mistake, and they've been, like they said, they won in the 2000s. And I know it's a bubble championship, but they won in that. So it's like they have shown that they can get players. Now, they did trade them all away from Anthony Davis, but it was worth it because they got a championship.
Yeah, they won a championship.
But it's like they to me, I trust their scouting department. They just know how to find guys. So if I'm a coach, I would be like, well, hell, I get to live in LA, even though taxes suck. But it's like, hey, I get to live in LA, and I got a competent scouting department, and the only person I really got to sweeten up to is Jeannie Buss, and I wouldn't be mad at that.
Hey, whoa. Kuzma's probably listening, man. Kuzma's probably listening.
Might be. I might get an angry DM.
Funny that you left that name off the list of good scouting.
I forgot. Once he went to Washington, I just Kuzma. I lost all of them.
Yeah,
I forgot about Kuzma.
Yeah,
but when he like a second round or like late first?
He was a late first round pick, but he was one of the better late first round picks.
Yeah, and that's not by accident. They've done this
not by accident.
For years. So
drafting guys like this takes a lot.
Actually,
of skill.
I need to give. I'm gonna put in the show notes. I'm gonna look up who the scouting director or whatever, whoever it is for the Lakers, because he's a dude. He or she is a dude. So it's just Jeannie and their whole opera. Linda Rabbits. They're the ones that are a little. They're out of whack. So I don't know. We'll see. But like you said, if I had to put money on it, it's probably gonna be JJ. So good luck, Lakers fans. I hope you guys are happy with that. But that's it for the pod today. We will definitely be getting back to you guys next week. Maybe the series will be over. Who knows? But like I said, it's gonna be a dead period after that until the Olympics. So make sure you guys are tuned in to Tyson Talks on Instagram, Apple, Spotify, on any of your audio platforms. Make sure you rate and review us, so you can get us in the algorithms. Quantrell knows on YouTube. I'm posting clips on there as much as I can. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.
Thank you.